What's the craziest thing a teacher has ever done? Mr. Peterson was a legend at Lincoln High before I ever stepped foot in his classroom. The whispers followed him through the hallways, how he'd once taught himself archery just to make physics more interesting, or the time he supposedly made a working hovercraft from spare vacuum parts. But those stories didn't prepare me for what happened junior year. I was struggling through his AP physics class, barely hanging on with a C-. My parents were threatening to pull me from basketball if my grades didn't improve, which would have destroyed my chances at a college scholarship. "Morgan, see me after class," he said one Thursday in November, not even looking up from grading papers. My stomach dropped. Mr. Peterson's after-class talks were infamous. Some kids came out motivated, others left in tears. When the room emptied, he leaned against his desk with arms crossed. "You're failing." "I know, sir. I'm trying, but no excuses. You either want this or you don't." His voice wasn't angry, just matter of fact. "Meet me here Saturday morning, 6 a.m. sharp." "Saturday? But coach scheduled." "Your choice." He turned back to his papers. That Saturday, I dragged myself to school before sunrise, expecting detention-style tutoring. Instead, I found Mr. Peterson loading equipment into his old station wagon. "Get in," he said. "We're going on a field trip." I hesitated. "Is this allowed?" He laughed. "Probably not. Coming?" We drove 2 hours to the coast. My confusion grew with every mile. "Sir, what does the beach have to do with physics?" He parked at a small airfield I'd never seen before. "Everything has to do with physics, Morgan." A man greeted us with flight suits. That's when I realized Mr. Peterson had arranged for us to go skydiving. Actual skydiving. "This is completely insane," I protested, panic rising in my throat. "You know what's insane? You're brilliant at understanding force and motion on the basketball court, but you can't translate it to paper. Today, we're fixing that." During the plane ride up, instead of a safety briefing, he quizzed me. "Calculate our terminal velocity. Factor in wind resistance. What forces are at work when the parachute deploys?" I was terrified, but answered each question, surprising myself when the concepts finally clicked. "Good," he nodded. "Now we jump." The free fall was both the most terrifying and exhilarating 4 minutes of my life. But what stuck with me weren't the rushing winds or stomach-dropping sensation. It was how clearly I could see physics in action. Every principle we'd covered in class was suddenly viscerally real. Back on solid ground, he handed me a notebook. "Write it all down. Every force, every calculation." I filled 10 pages before we drove home. Monday morning, he returned my latest test with a red A+ circled at the top. "I didn't even take this test," I whispered. "No, but you wrote something better in that notebook." I ended the semester with the highest grade in class. When I got my full scholarship to Michigan State, Mr. Peterson was the first person I called. Years later, at my college graduation, he appeared unexpectedly. "You know, you could have been fired for that skydiving trip," I said. He shrugged. "Some lessons can't be taught inside 4 walls." It wasn't until my teaching certification that I learned the truth. The school board had suspended him for 2 weeks without pay for that unauthorized field trip. He never told me.